Okay, so this is the third time I'm starting over, so if I seem flustered, I'm sure I'll be fine in a minute. It's just one of those, like, I don't know, now it's 8:30, so, but I think everything downloads way faster, but I swear to God, there's just no telling what they're downloading. It could go on at any time. It could go on in a couple hours, or it could go on later this afternoon, so who knows? But everything is so weird, man. And yesterday I got a horrible headache just all of a sudden. And Stella's having so much problems with her walking, and that just keeps getting worse. And my headache, oh my gosh. So I don't know. I just feel like it's chemicals or something that we're being sprayed with or whatever. So I don't know. It's hard to feel positive when you keep doing all these detoxes and stuff, and then you keep getting sick. Stella keeps getting sick. And it's like, okay, so, I mean, it's a lot. I don't know what, if people are not detoxing and stuff, no wonder people are just dropping dead. It's like, Jesus Christ. And you know, another thing too, is when you think about that 140,000, when they said that, you know, we need to shut down the whole entire world. 140,000 people have died. Crap. You know, I mean, like it was a hugest thing. So we've killed over 3 million to save 140,000. I mean, it's so absurd. So absurd. It's just, it's so sickening. And when people all of a sudden realize that stuff, and you know, it's a lot to stuff to realize. I mean, you talk to people all the time, and they don't see what you're talking about. They just don't see it. And I see people get so mad and so frustrated and name calling and bully about that kind of stuff. But it is seriously, it's that soul's experience. It's what they are going to have their own experience to the realization. And you know, supposedly there's 4 or 6% of the people who never will, but I would say then they're not supposed to, because if they were supposed to, then it would happen. And even if things like, you know, I don't know, I'm not going to sit there and say like your soul has an outcome to even remember. Like that doesn't seem like it's the point or the purpose for a lot of life experience. The remembering is because of this transition that we're going through, that it has a reason. This remembering, it is this expansion. It's like this big bang in the universe, this awakening thing, because it's like this whole universal thing. It's gonna do something with the firmament. It is something with the sun. And what was it? Man, I keep seeing, because I keep seeing so many people talking about the event now. And it's so crazy, because back when I was talking about it, like 2015 or 2016 or something, and everybody thought I was just totally wacky. And then it kind of like, I didn't hear people talking about it, you know, except for there was those of us who knew about it, but it was just like nobody was really talking about it, especially after 2020. There was other things that people kept talking about. But now that everybody is questioning reality, now all of a sudden, and the solar flashes, the Schumann resonance and all this stuff, now people are starting to talk about that again and bring up the prophecy and stuff around it. So I've been seeing lots of videos lately talking about it and talking about the event and everything. So there was a couple that I was, well, there was, you know, a bunch that is like how I see things too. There was a couple, there was something I wanted to say that I can't think of it. So it doesn't really matter. But because the one person, I heard this one person talking about it, and they said that they think it's about to happen in a couple months. And so you have all these people like trying to put it together of this prophecy and when it's going to happen and what's going on. So now you have a whole group that's really into that whole thing. And so you have people saying, You know, it could be in 25 to 27, but it could be in a couple months. So it's basically the same thing as like what was being said back in 2015. Only there was a bunch of us who thought it was going to be way sooner. Like all this stuff to drag out the way it's drug out, that is what is always, that's been surprising to me. But I can see the point of why it had to, and I can see the point of why all souls get their own experience through this whole encounter, and how, you know, there's a lot of lessons to learn when you are just going into observing and stuff. Like there's a lot, man, to learn, and allow other people to have their experience, whatever that is, and to not interfere with their vision or their view, but still be true to yourself. And like there's a lot to it, you know? So there's a lot to maneuver and learn about yourself. So, you know, it makes sense to me why so many of us are going through it on that side of it, because there is so much to learn and expand yourself. And I think that that is why there's a lot of people who are on that enlightened path, who are going through it from this side because of the things that we are learning. And because it has so much to do with trust and faith, and to really see each soul as an individual experience and the purpose for the universe, and just the whole, you know, there's just so much about it. But one of the things that I had seen that I thought was really interesting that I wanted to talk about. So there's this girl, I talked about her a few weeks ago, I think, that I had seen, and she was going off of the pharmaceuticals, and she'd been on them for a long ass time on the antidepressants. And so she's talking about this experience of going off of them. And she started saying that she had realized now that she is so comfortable being like depressed or sad or something, that that is what she has to kind of fight and recognize in herself. So see, that's why the pills are just a band-aid. They don't help you. Then you go through all these years, and it's kind of like you're stunting your growth, because you're missing out on all these opportunities of growth, because you are trying to control your emotions by not feeling it, and instead of allowing yourself to experience, because that is what creates growth. And so, you know, now she has seen that it's like a dependency kind of to feel bad, that it's more comfortable to feel bad. But now she's recognized that. So see, that's a huge obstacle to recognize when you can see it for yourself. And so then you can become aware of it. But it's also very frustrating once you become aware of something, especially if you're hard on yourself, because you'll beat yourself up and beat yourself down because you're not doing it good enough, you're not doing it fast enough, you're not smart enough. So you got to overcome that, which is part of the process anyways, is to understand yourself as just a being that is trying to expand through learning and experiencing. And so you need to be gentle with yourself, not hard on yourself. And so, you know, the growing that the person does, and it expands themselves throughout their lifetime. But see, all this dependency that they have created on pills and feeling good for this split second and not worrying about anything. And I know that those pills have helped a lot of people get out of a slump that they were deep in. You know, I've been one of them before, 2 times. But there has become a dependency, and there's a push for dependency. So people don't grow, because then they, like, I think this girl, she was on like 16 years or something. It was a long ass time. Maybe it's 6 years. I'm horrible with numbers, but it was a long ass time, however long, because it should be a very temporary thing. You shouldn't be on these pills that are especially crossing your blood-brain barrier, and they are messing with your like your serotonin, and they're messing with some serious shit is being messed with in there, and you shouldn't have your system being overridden like that. And so you have, you know, your system, your body is telling you when something's wrong, And that is you're tuning into yourself as a recognition of reading what your body's telling you. Just like what I was saying about the animals or something. It's not like they're talking to you. It's like you tune in to them and you see it all. Like, when the birds were flying into my window, it was me taking the time to acknowledge and to be aware and to participate in what they were trying to tell me and to notice and acknowledge them. That's the communication. It is stopping and noticing. What are you trying to tell me? And, there is a communication going on with us in our environment. And so many people cut themselves off from that. So that is a part of the communication with animals. It's like an acknowledgement of, you're telling me something, you have value, and you are trying to communicate with me and to give value back. And so anyways, that is a part of the expansion of the becoming a part of nature and the acknowledgement of what you're a part of. And so anyways, so going through this experience, now she has seen how much she pulls herself back. And so she was talking about this as programming, and she was explaining, the language that starts going on and the things that start being said in her head. And so she's saying it's programming. And so she just starts running programs, and that program wants to pull her back into depression and pull her back into doubt and not feeling good about herself. And so she was really, that was becoming clear to her. And see, that is the good thing about what's going on in the universal energy that is surrounding us, is because we can see things more clearly. The things that we used to not acknowledge, now they're becoming more obvious, so that it's hard to not notice. And that is why we don't need to tell anybody. They'll notice what they're supposed to notice when they're supposed to notice it. I mean, people, just think of yourself, the things that you notice, and then we think like we need to tell somebody else what they need to notice. No, everybody will figure it out for themselves. But so the thing that I thought was interesting, though, is how she was saying about running programs. And when I'm talking about the energy and how it connects to you and how it connects to people who are down and depressed and feeling bad, that sucks. It's like you're a vacuum. You're feeling super down, you're feeling sad and bad about yourself and stuff. And so you, like a vacuum, will suck that energy out of the universe. That is like a parasitic kind of energy, and so you suck it to you. And that energy also, this is where I think they get these ideas of demons and stuff. And I talked about this so much because it's almost like they know how to pet you to find their place and their attachment to you. And that's why, people who are really down, how they start looking like they're just dragging, they're just carrying all this energy that is just talking and talking and talking and telling them shit and feeding them shit. And beating them down. And it is these attachments. She's talking about it as programs, and I'm talking about it as attachments. And I think that it is important when people are going through that for them to acknowledge that that is a separate being from them. It's not just the program of their mind doing that. It is the program that is set by the entity or the energy that attaches to that energy of you feeling that way, and they want to keep you in that energy. They don't want you to go out of that energy, because what are they supposed to do then? How can they hang on to the energy when it's not there anymore? And so they are fighting you. That is like a vampire to you, a parasite to you. So they're fighting you to keep you in that state of being so that they can continue to siphon your energy, because it gives them more life. life. And you become more heavy and down. And that is like in this dark energy place where these people understand about this stuff, the idea of demons and possession and stuff, because they know these energies are attached to all these people. They want it that way. They want people to feel down. They know that they've got beings in there just talking shit to them. And you're so worthless. See, they don't want to talk to you. Nobody wants to talk to you. You're ugly. You smell bad. Oh my God, I can't believe you just did that. You're so stupid. They'll say that stuff. And people can look at it as like, well, that's a demon doing that, but it is being an energy that is trying to survive. So, but it's all by intention, and that, so it's not a demon. It's not trying to hurt you. You pulled it in. You brought it home to you. You gave it a place to rest. And so you developed a rapport with it. I knew this was going to happen. So hold on just a sec. Mom's doing something. Come on. Go lay on your bed, okay? Go lay on your bed. Mom is doing this, okay? I know you're okay. She's having a bad day. So, anyways, so the attachment doesn't want you to get better. So it is going to sit there and feed you this, the messaging to keep you in that state. And that is what I was talking about too, is sometimes that it, depending on what your mood was, what you pulled into you, is, can also, they want to keep you isolated. They want to keep you to themselves. They don't want anybody else getting access to your energy, so that they will also talk a lot of shit about other people to you and keep you isolated by telling you other people are worthless. They're not worth your time. So they will feed your ego sometimes to make you think like you're better than other people, and nobody deserves you or deserves your time or whatever. And so there's all different ways, but that is where people have to recognize that there is communication going on. And that is what I found. Like, I really didn't have any idea. I really thought everybody had access. Well, I know everybody has access. It's just that not everybody has worked it out or something. I don't know, because I thought that we all had the same communication with the universe. I didn't know until I started hearing people talking about things, and then when I started looking up about channeling and what the people do and how they figured it out and all that stuff, and then I realized, like, oh, I already do that. Like, that isn't something I have to try and do. And so so I know that there is, people need to work that muscle out and try and do it. But I know that it is, that all that stuff is real. I didn't know that other people didn't know. Like, that just, it totally trips me out. Like, I just wonder, how do people live? Like, how do they... And, I totally see it as like your higher self. It's like your advanced self is trying to, like, teach you and help you get to where you're going. And then you have, like I said before, like, you have grandparents, ancestors, different people throughout the lineage who are trying to repair damage that they feel that they did, and carry a karmic debt by having things out of balance. So they're working from the sidelines. Then at this point in time, we have all of these other beings that are all out around us that are in this battle for consciousness, and this expansion for the universe, and this battle of, it's kind of like there was just too much dark that it took over. And so it has to be pushed back, has to be exposed, because of the, the way that people don't see it, the way that people are unaware. and that they are just tricked. That doesn't go with free will, because how can you have free will if you're being tricked? And so that is going against the universal laws of what is acceptable, what is, what keeps the universe in flow without disruption. Because, like the darkness, the evil, or whatever things to be out of balance, that is like a storm, an energetic storm in the galaxy. And so that is like why all of these different beings are involved, like why they say it's like this spiritual battle. I saw this video yesterday. I remember the whole thing. It was something about all these beings from the Orion galaxy or something are involved in this battle, and they were saying like it's the reptilians, the Greys, the Dracos, the Pleiadians, the Whites, and the Anunnaki. That's what this video is about. That's who's involved in this big battle that's going on, and that the battle is about to be revealed to all of us. Oh, that's what I wanted to say too. Is so there's this video, this guy talking about that there's some time traveler video, this guy, and I think he had seen him on YouTube, and the guy had made some predictions of what was going to happen to prove that he really is a time traveler. So one of the predictions was something last month, I think, and it was accurate. Whatever it was he said, it happened the way he said when he said it was going to happen. And so this guy said that the next thing he says is going to happen is next Friday. Is the May 19th. He said that's the collapse. That's when the financial collapse occurs in America. And then it's going to be a bunch of stuff. It's going to be brutal. I think for a little. Like, I don't know, because there's so many different things. I don't remember all the things he said, because I have so many different prophecies coming in of where there's going to be a time where it's going to be brutal as shit. And this whole thing, and who knows, is it the brutal part that is the awakening? Like, I don't know. I just know that these certain events, and they have showed me these for years, and the events that they've shown me has always been accurate. And even along the way, the things that they tell me, like the things that they make stand out to me, and then that they tell me about things, has been completely accurate. There is there's so much people where they're finding bodies and stuff, they're missing their organs and stuff like that. So there's gonna be more and more about that. But there's and an Arby's that got busted, had a dead person in the freezer. So the what was it, because there's going to be more of the what we're eating and stuff. There's more stuff with the meat packing thing. So there's 4 main ones, and then there's small ones. But now, because the way they work, they're going to run the other ones out of business, because this is what I said. How fucking many times have I said that? How they do this shit. So they are going to now make it that all of them have to follow a certain guideline. Well, for this certain guideline to follow, they have to put in like $2 million worth of equipment. And they're a small business, they can't afford it. So it's running them out, all the small ones out of business. So it's going to be just 4 of them. And so it's all about the control, because they're not feeding us real food. And so they have to be in control of it so that they can sneak in all of this, the discarded remains and shit, It's, oh man, it's so sickening. And there's going to be some weird stuff about organs, I'm telling you. Yeah, I don't know if they seriously would be taking all these for food. Like, I don't know. Are they taking them to grow them? And I don't know what. There's going to be something weird that is going to come out about it, because it's just too strange. There is way too much about these missing kittens. There's just like, I have known a lot of people in my life. I even know somebody who I told them I would give them my kidney because they're diabetic and they have had it since they were childhood. It was my son-in-law. And I said I would give him one if he ended up needing one. And I don't remember the whole conversation or whatever, but I looked it up about, donating one to people who need them. And there is, a lot of people who need them and stuff, but still to the amount, like, I don't know. I mean, there's gonna be so many different things about numbers and truth and stuff that just keeps coming out and coming out. Like it's, just the main talking thing now is the moon landing is a lie. The 11th of September, that whole thing. So much stuff about that. The like all these things that used to be like forbidden fruit are suddenly just like everybody's telling all the stuff they know about it and looking stuff up about it and finding out about it. So I don't know. Everything is going to just keep, being exposed, but I don't know if, I know it all has to do with the awakening. I just don't know what it is, the actual thing that is the thing that is going to just all of a sudden cause everybody to just, because I know there's going to be some shocking event. There's going to be something. And, I mean, fuck, I feel on my edge of my seat for it. I can't even believe how this drags out. But I feel like that's coming, and I feel like so many people who are more open now are feeling this coming too. And nobody really knows, I mean, time and stuff, how can we know? We just know. We can feel something coming. And, it's going to be the thing that turns everything around. And is that going to be the money thing? I don't know. But, I'm hoping that the time traveler guy is correct. And it is going to be next week. And this is going to be like, the final week of this shit. Like, I can't even believe. Like, I don't know. I just feel like we're still being poisoned no matter what. I feel like it's still in our water. This morning when I went in to take a shower, it was like the stuff that came out. The water doesn't seem like it's normal texture. Something is weird with it. And they're still spraying up in my skies over here. And I keep getting sick. I have this fucking horrible headache, the constant sneezing. I still feel things crawling around in my face. Sometimes I'll feel something start crawling like that. Like I want to grab it. Like, what is it? But it feels like it is, like, I don't know, microscopic or I don't know, these nanobot things or something. But I've seen where people are saying that there's some sort of a thing. But this one girl who was talking about it, and I can't even remember what she said. It's like these microscopic attacks or something, and that they are putting these things out there, and it has something I think also to do with the morgue and then the Ellen thing, because that has these things trying to get out of people's skin and stuff. And then anyways, doctors just keep telling all these people that they're crazy or something, but it has something to do with what we're being something that we're getting in us or on us or something. And so that is what I keep thinking is whatever it is, like, I don't know, something really is burrowing and then just going out of my eye and it's just too small for me to be able to see. Plus it has to be really pretty significant for me to be able to see anyways, because it's like I'm trying to look through Vaseline and everything I see. So I can't see very well. And so many people talking about eye health and stuff because so many people's eyes are being affected by these lights and these chemicals. So I just want them to hurry up and get these med back. I just want things to hurry up and switch to change. Like, man, I am so freaking burnt out on this shit. And especially just because today I just don't feel good. I've got such a horrible headache. And all night long, it wasn't even like I was asleep. It was like I was up talking to myself all night. I'm telling you, sometimes it feels like this avatar that I'm existing in is like the Enterprise or something. What was that? Starship Enterprise. Feels like there's a whole thing going on up in there. And so I'm thinking, oh, I just want to go to sleep. Well, then there's a whole shit going on and being talked about. And it's like, oh my gosh. So it didn't ever feel like, I don't know. I don't know. If it just is some sort of awareness of my state of consciousness now or something. I don't know. All this stuff just keeps changing and I don't know how to explain it. So it's just weird. And all I know is that a lot of people, start talking about something I'm talking about a couple years after. So I'm thinking, well, this is going to just start happening to everybody. This just really weird. And so many people, I saw a guy who was, he works in psych, and he said that he's got so many people coming in but he also is spiritual. He said he's got so many people coming in who think that they are going crazy, but he said he can tell it's a spiritual awakening. And so you have, so many people who don't understand at all what's going on with them just when they start, I don't know, hearing stuff in their head louder, being more aware of the things around them. Like, I don't know. I don't know. I'm sure it's different for everybody, whatever it is, but that is the, expansion, the, where we're going to. So whatever it is, I'm sure, because sometimes I try and think, okay, so some of this stuff that I'll hear people talking about, I'll think like, well, when was I going through that? So how long has that been? So, go through that part and then you get to the next part. But it is like a I don't know. It's like an awareness that you're not real. That's all I can think of it as. It's like just being aware that you're not real. And then, so, I don't know. It's like, I don't know. I don't know. It'd be easier to talk about it, I think, when somebody else has gone through it. So when you're talking about, and then you can kind of exchange words, which I've seen the one girl who is always doing these breakdowns of the human language and the hidden meaning behind the words. She's been doing a lot of those lately. And it is all of their language, and there is a whole thing about them wanting to get us on English, and about the spell casting, and about the confusion with the words, and about the flipping everything upside down. Because it is kind of like, as soon as people started leaving their tribes and stuff, even though a lot of it was forced and stuff, there is a part to where you don't take a knee, you die for your truth. To know that it isn't really death. What you're really doing is standing for your truth. And so when people don't stand for their truth, they end up feeling so bad about themselves. It's a hard thing for people to get over. And that is a lot of what happens in their life journey. But when people stand for their truth, like I think about the Vikings, and how they went into every battle, even though they were a lot of the instigators, that was Valhalla. It was like, see you on the other side. Like they knew, and they knew you fight to the death. You fight for what is yours, or you fight for what is right for you. And so, and that, I don't know if that is because I did a lot of incarnating back, and it was Atlantis that I was trying to think of yesterday, because I just know I had a connection to that ever since I was a little kid, before I even knew what Atlantis was. It was like I knew, and I wanted to know more and more once I started hearing about Atlantis. And when I would hear things, I could see the visions of, like I knew of life there. I knew I was from there, but I didn't, I was young. I didn't really understand all that. Like I didn't understand when I was having those dreams over and over of me dying, and how scared I was. And that whole thing, it was horrific. And I didn't realize, that I was reliving a past life trauma, and that I was going to end up encountering my spirit and all my familiar back here with me, and that we would have this beautiful experience together of, I don't know. I just find that all fascinating too. But what was I going to say? Um, so, was I going to say something else about reincarnation? Seems like I went off from what I was talking about. Um, I don't know. Sometimes I feel like it just goes, and I have no idea what the hell I'm even talking about. And I was like, I don't know if everything even went together. I just go with the flow of what is coming into my head. And it is hard to, especially when I see these other people, and they have to close their eyes and focus, or either they have to go in and meditate and then write it down. Like, everybody has these different ways of doing it. And so mine, it just because, like, I just know they're talking all the time. And so they just tell you stuff, show you pictures and stuff. So it's just sometimes trying to keep up with them, and sometimes it's trying to understand what the hell they're talking about. And sometimes it is, there's so many different things coming in that I don't know if I'm jumping around. So, I may not be that great at it, the talking out loud, but there is, there's a lot. Like, this isn't like, I don't feel like this is how I lived normally before. I feel like, well, if I do go around, they're still going to tell me stuff. They're still going to say stuff, So once you can hear them, it's hard to miss what they're saying. And, oh, and I did see this other thing too, where now there's people saying Ashtar is a demon. Oh, everything's a demon. A demon, negative, entity that is trying to bring down humanity and stuff. And you can't trust the Galactic Federation and all of that stuff. So, I don't know. I feel like everything will be shown at some point. Oh, yeah, because it was, because I did think, that about the being from Atlanta, and I knew I was drawn to Egypt too when I was a kid, and then I knew I was really drawn to Egypt. Like, all these things are a part of you. They're in you. The things that you're drawn to, the people you're drawn to, all of that stuff is a part of you. With their limitations that they talk about, DNA and stuff like that, it's because your DNA is your imprint. It's like your soul's imprint. It is the imprint of you that attaches to the avatar to go through the experience. And I saw a cool thing too yesterday, where a guy was doing this whole talk about the separation between the soul and the avatar, and for the soul to really understand and acknowledge. And he was saying some stuff. I was like, well, that's all stuff that I feel like I've said, to people to try and get them to understand that, yeah, you're not your body, and none of this is even real. It's your spacesuit. It's like what you need to do, but it's also a part of the experience, because it is the expansion through the growth and the connection through generations that you can learn and expand, because it's all connected. And so I see totally like where people talk about that the earth is a school, but now it's going to be changing, because it's going to be becoming heaven on earth. It's like this giant graduation, and then it's going to become like heaven on earth. But there is some kind of a disconnect between the physical and your idea of your body and the flesh and blood and stuff. And once you escape that flesh and blood concept, and you understand, it also, it adds to this whole thing about us not being able to die. And that was the thing that I wanted to say about that girl, that woman who was talking about the event yesterday, because she was saying that same thing is kind of like the big event, the reset. When that whole thing happens, it is always, and this is two people I heard saying this yesterday. that it always wipes everything else, the reset, everything gets wiped out. But in this one, it's not going to be, because the higher states of consciousness will understand that they can continue to exist. And so they will continue to exist. And so that is this thing that as you expand and you start becoming less tuned into this physicality part of it or something, and you start, I don't know how to say it. It's like things become more disjointed somehow. Like if they couldn't before. Even yesterday or the day before something, Stella was doing something and it seemed like she just did it like a total glitch. And I was like, oh my gosh, it's like a skip in a movie real quick. I was like, this place is so trippy. I think it's going to be so different once we really start understanding about, when we're not being fed lies and we really do start understanding more about this place and what we're doing here and everything. But I do think it's a lot of stuff is going to come from the other beings that are involved, and the giving more explanation about our history. And I think it has to do with the beings expanding, and so souls going through the experience to come, because the soul could see like the possibilities of expansion. And then it has the reason why we were experiment to see how successful it was, and it was very successful. And now there's this huge expansion that is going to occur as the ascension, as souls advance into this other. So it's kind of like, as a consciousness, you have to become aware that your body isn't real, and that you can continue as a state of being, because you are a being. And so therefore it is like you are, so therefore you are. And so you are continue because you believe you will continue. And so the beings that are like that, so like when we leave this place, when we transition out of here, when we leave the game, like when we die in the game and we transition, we go to that higher state of being, the higher frequency. So it's like we're going to go to that state of mind, the connection to our higher self. We're going to go to that state of mind as a conscious being in order to continue. And so that is how it will be like heaven on earth, because normally we have to be more in the heavens to be in that, but it's going to be like we are going to transition into it. So, because nothing can really kill us, but we have to understand that in ourselves. Otherwise, we would die because we believed we were going to die. So, if that makes sense, like I can see it and understand it, but I don't know if I can say it to where it makes sense. And then, plus, everything is dependent on someone's own transmission, their own understanding, their own translation of things, because everybody's going to understand things on different levels. So you can hear something and not make any sense, but then after the fact, then you can look back on it and go, oh, that makes so much sense now. Now I get what. So that is part of just the learning. So that is why sometimes when you hear things and they don't make any sense, it's not something to overthink, and it's just something to stick in a back pocket. And then, just it is kind of like just your acknowledgement of the information that gives the universe an opportunity to remind you. And they do this all the time. That's why I'm saying it. They do it all the time. They'll bring something back from your past to remind you, so they can make a point or get you to understand something. And so a lot of people, they think, oh, well, I just remembered that all of a sudden. No, you have a higher advanced being that is trying to communicate and help you understand and acknowledge things. So when you go into that understanding and you start communicating back, it's not just them trying to drop breadcrumbs and you trying to, think you're a genius for a second or something. No, you start actually doing a communication, and you start acknowledging, you start having numbers flash, you'll start having, oh my gosh, the joy when you start acknowledging them and participating in the communication, when they're not just trying to put on bumpers and breadcrumbs, but you're actually participating, you're actually communicating, you're meditating, you are listening, and you can get to the point where you don't have to meditate. You can just hear him talking. I think once you start understanding and listening and, and getting better control of shutting your own mind down when your mind starts, going on repeat or, something, whatever it starts doing. Once you can bypass that and start hearing the voice in the back of the room, then you can start, communicating more. It's not like you have to just only go into meditation. I feel like the people who have to go into meditation to communicate, that is a limitation, because then you have to find the time, the place, and everything to go in. But I understand that that is important for people to do, because especially if you're busy all the time, you need to take that time to go in and connect to yourself so that yourself can give you insight and show you, what you probably missed when you were going through your pace of the day. You could have missed this or missed that, and then they give it to you in a time of peace. So you got to find those times to make peace so that you can have the transmissions and have a deeper understanding so that you can be productive in your expansion. So then when you are going through your day, it's more productive, but you may not be able to. Like, I can go through it and they are telling me stuff all the time. But, I think somebody who's got a lot of people in their house or a lot of other noise and stuff like that, that would be asking a lot for them to be able to tune everything out and only be able to tune in to the voice in the back of the room. So, there's no shame on people who have to be more mindful and take the time to really be, to make it your goal is that communication. And because the communication is real, that is what the sad thing is, what people are missing out on, and where people are going in and thinking that they're going crazy and stuff. And so, you have to go through, like I had said before, you have to go through the different steps, because if people were disconnecting from their bodies through this, and then I am sure some people are, and as they do, I think it's part of where you start realizing that this feels like a dream, like you're in a lucid dream and stuff. It's all a process as you go through it, but it continues and continues to go. And I think, it is kind of where you have to keep yourself in the, like grounding yourself to remember, like, you're here and you are doing this or that, you know what I mean? Like I feel like it would be easy. I think it would be easy for me to go out into the woods by myself in a little foresty, like if I didn't have neighbors where I'm at, I'd be fine. I would be kind of probably scared of the forest at night or something. There would be things that would definitely scare me. Like, I can see why I am where I'm at, because I would probably be terrified by some of the stuff. But the energy, yesterday, like, for the past few days where I've been sitting outside, still wants to sit outside, it's been really nice. I've been sitting outside breathing in all these chemicals, but the noise, oh my gosh, I can't even believe the noise. And I was just like, man, that is just, I don't know. I don't think it's a healthy way to live. I think we don't need to be on top of each other like this. We shouldn't, like, I don't know. I don't know if it's because the airplanes going over make so much noise. So I don't know if it's the mowers and the chainsaws and all the shooting. I don't know if everything is just being so much noisier or what, but it's fucking intense, man. It's so intense. And I was like, oh my God, this has got to bust free. Things that got to bust loose. Like, oh my Lord. So anyways, just, I have no idea what the hell I've been talking about. Uh, I have no idea what the hell I've been talking about. So, anyways, I'm gonna go. My head is just freaking killing me. And it's Mother's Day, so any of you ladies out there, just really pat yourself on the back. You don't need a one day to celebrate. And I think a lot of times it becomes a disappointment for so many people because of the expectation of wanting to be acknowledged for all the hard work that you do. And, just pull that energy back. And, one thing, because my one daughter said, Happy Mother's Day to me. And I said, I'm kind of out of the mother game. And I'm, every day for me is Mother's Day because I can celebrate my day exactly the way I want every day. And so I know a lot of moms aren't getting the special day that they want, and they'll still put all the effort into the Father's Day to make sure that he gets the special day. But, just, you know, to me, just to do what you can to look at things differently, to see the positives, to see the benefits, to see yourself in the good light that you need to see yourself in, and really acknowledge for yourself the hard work and what you've overcome throughout everything, no matter what the things are that you've been overcoming throughout these past few years. It's been a lot. People have been having to get over a lot of hard things. So, be gentle on yourself. Don't be too disappointed in anybody, for not giving you the best day. I know some, people are really lucky are getting to have, some really, day where they get to feel like a princess or whatever. But I don't think it's the majority. I think the majority of women, just like the majority of people on Valentine's Day, end up just feeling disappointed and that's what we wanted to kind of break. I kind of feel like that they make these stupid ass holidays to kind of set people up, set people up to go broke. It's all about consumerism and everything about making people feel like shit. So give a day where it's supposed to be the mom is celebrated. Most moms, where it's important to them, they don't get the day that they would really prefer. So just remember to set your own day. Set up a day that you want, that is going to be a special day to you. You acknowledge you. You don't need anyone else, and it's sweet and kind when your kids give you all those little things and stuff and tell you what a good mom you are. But, that's a temporary thing too. They love you to death at a certain age. And then, they're a monster at a certain age. So enjoy those moments of getting those silly little cards and stuff, and really be in that moment of joy with them, because believe me, it doesn't last. So anyways, I'm gonna get all emotional. So enjoy your day and remember to just have gratitude. And, and make a special day what you want. If it's a luncheon with your friends, if it's to set up a massage, a facial, a day to go shopping with no kids, whatever it is, just do something good for you, of something that you need, something that's all about you, and you set it up for you. Don't worry about anybody else. You acknowledge you. You love you. That's what's most important. So anyways, I'll talk to you later. Bye.